Evening, ma'am. This building's restricted after hours. Mind telling me what you're doing here?
I'm waiting for the elevator.
Let me see some ID.
Not happening.
Excuse me, you need to show ID or you're coming with me. This isn't a place you just walk into.
I don't have to show you a thing. You have no idea
Try
who
me,
you're
ID
talking to.
now.
A cop ended his career the moment he put handcuffs on the wrong woman. Naomi Wells stood near the elevator on the 47th floor of the Grandview Tower, adjusting her black satin dress. The fabric hugged her frame perfectly, elegant but professional. She checked her phone one last time before heading back to the ballroom. In 20 minutes, she'd be back on stage introducing the next speaker at Sophie Chen's 21st birthday gala. Victoria Chen, her best friend and one of the city's most successful tech entrepreneurs, had asked her to MC the event. Naomi had agreed without hesitation. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for being here and supporting this channel. It truly means the world to us. Now tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. The elevator doors opened. Naomi stepped forward. "Hold it right there." She turned. A white officer in full uniform stood 10 feet away, hand resting on his belt. His name tag read Langford, Derek Langford, 35 years old, clean cut, and staring at her like she'd just committed a crime. "Can I help you, officer?" Naomi asked, her voice calm but firm. "You need some ID," Derek said, walking closer. His tone wasn't polite, it was accusatory. "Excuse me?" "Your ID, now." Naomi's jaw tightened. She'd been through this before, too many times. "Why do you need my ID? I'm attending an event here." "This is a private building," Derek said. "We've had reports of people trying to sneak into events they weren't invited to, so I'm asking you again, show me your ID." Naomi didn't move. "Reports from who? I'm the MC for the event on this floor. I belong here." Derek's eyes narrowed. "The MC? You expect me to believe that?" "I don't expect anything from you," Naomi shot back, "but that's the truth. My name is on the guest list. I've been on stage all evening." "Then showing me your ID shouldn't be a problem." Naomi felt the heat rising in her chest, but she kept her composure. "I don't have to show you anything. I haven't done anything wrong." Derek stepped closer, invading her space. "You're in a building where you clearly don't belong, refusing to cooperate with law enforcement. That's suspicious behavior." "Clearly don't belong?" Naomi repeated, her voice sharp now. "What makes you say that?" Derek didn't answer. He didn't have to. His silence said everything. Naomi crossed her arms. "I'm not showing you my ID. I'm not doing anything illegal, and I suggest you walk away before this becomes a problem for you." Derek's face hardened. "You're making this difficult." "No," Naomi said, stepping forward, "you're making this racist." The word hung in the air between them. Derek's hand moved to his radio. "I'm going to need backup on the 47th floor. Uncooperative individual refusing to identify herself." Naomi shook her head. She pulled her phone from her clutch and held it up. "I'm recording this. Whatever you're about to do, the world's going to see it." Derek grabbed her wrist. "Get your hands off me," Naomi snapped, yanking her arm back. "You're under arrest for trespassing and resisting an officer," Derek said, reaching for his handcuffs. "I'm an FBI agent," Naomi said, her voice loud and clear. "My credentials are in my bag. I'm the MC for this event, and you're making the biggest mistake of your career." Derek didn't care. He pulled her arms behind her back. The metal cuffs clicked around her wrists. Naomi didn't stop talking. "My name is Special Agent Naomi Wells. I work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is an unlawful arrest, and every second of it is being recorded on your body cam." Derek tightened the cuffs. "Sure you are." "You think I'm lying?" Naomi's voice was steady, fierce. "Check my bag. My badge is right there." Derek ignored her. He grabbed her arm and started walking her toward the service elevator. Naomi planted her feet. "I'm not going anywhere with you until you verify who I am." "You'll go where I tell you to go," Derek said, pulling harder. "I'm resisting. her heels scraping against the marble floor. "This is illegal detainment. You have no probable cause. You refuse to show ID in a private building. That's all the cause I need." The backup officer arrived within minutes. His name was Collins. Younger, less experienced, but he followed Derek's lead without question. "What do we have?" Collins asked, glancing at Naomi in handcuffs. "Trespasser," Derek said flatly. "Refused to identify herself. Claims she's the MC for some event upstairs." Collins looked at Naomi. She stared back at him, unflinching. "I'm Special Agent Naomi Wells with the FBI," she said clearly. "My credentials are in my bag. This officer refused to check them. This is an unlawful arrest." Collins hesitated. He looked at Derek. "She's lying," Derek said. "Probably stole that bag from someone inside. We'll sort it out at the station." "You're not taking me anywhere," Naomi said, her voice rising. "You have no legal grounds to arrest me. I've committed no crime." Derek grabbed her arm tighter. "Resisting an arrest is a crime." "You can't resist an arrest that's illegal in the first place," Naomi shot back. A small crowd had started to gather. A few guests from the gala had wandered into the hallway, drawn by the commotion. They stood at a distance, phones out, recording. Derek noticed them. His jaw clenched. "Everyone back inside. This is official police business." No one moved. Naomi raised her voice, projecting it toward the crowd. "My name is Naomi Wells. I'm a special agent with the FBI and the MC for Sophie Chen's birthday gala. I'm being unlawfully detained by this officer. Please make sure someone tells Victoria Chen what's happening." One of the guests, a middle-aged woman in a gold dress, stepped forward. "I recognize her. She was on stage earlier tonight. She introduced the first 3 speakers." Derek turned to her. "Ma'am, step back." "She's telling the truth," the woman insisted. "She's the MC. Why are you arresting her?" "This doesn't concern you," Derek snapped. The woman pulled out her phone and started recording. "This concerns all of us." Derek's face reddened. He turned back to Naomi. "Let's go." He pulled her toward the service elevator. Naomi dug her heels into the floor, resisting every step. "Check my bag," she demanded. "My FBI badge is right there. My ID is right there. You'll see I'm telling the truth." "I don't need to check anything. You're coming with me." Collins finally spoke up. "Maybe we should check her bag, just to be sure." Derek shot him a look. "I said we'll sort it out at the station." Naomi turned her head toward Collins. "Officer, please, look in my bag. This is a mistake, a huge mistake." Collins reached for the clutch that hung from Naomi's shoulder. Derek blocked him. "Don't," Derek said. "Why not?" Collins asked. "Because I'm the senior officer here, and I'm telling you we're handling this my way." Collins backed off. The elevator doors opened. Derek shoved Naomi inside. She stumbled, but stayed on her feet. "This is assault. You just assaulted a federal agent on camera." Derek pressed the button for the ground floor. "You're not a federal agent. You're a liar." The doors started to close. Naomi locked eyes with the woman in the gold dress. "Tell Victoria. Tell her what happened." The door shut. Inside the elevator, Naomi took a breath. Her wrists burned where the cuffs cut into her skin. She looked up at the corner of the elevator. A small black camera blinked red. "You see that? That camera is recording this too, and so is your body cam. Every word, every action." Derek said nothing. "You're going to lose your job over this. Worse than that, you're going to lose everything." Derek stared straight ahead. "You should have just shown your ID." "I don't have to show you anything without probable cause. That's the law. You know that. Or maybe you don't care because you've already decided I don't belong here." Derek's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. The elevator descended. Naomi counted the floors. 47, 46, 45. You saw a black woman in a nice dress, and you couldn't believe she belonged in that building. That's what this is about. Not reports, not trespassing, just your assumptions. Derek finally looked at her. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been doing this job for 8 years.
I've arrested people like you before." The elevator reached the ground floor. The doors opened. Derek grabbed her arm and pulled her out into the lobby. A few people stopped and stared. A security guard at the front desk stood up. "Officer, what's going on?" the guard asked. "Police business," Derek said, walking past him. The guard looked at Naomi. She met his eyes. "Call the FBI field office. Tell them Special Agent Naomi Wells has been unlawfully detained." The guard hesitated. "Now," Naomi said. Derek grabbed her toward the exit. The cold night air hit them as they stepped outside. A patrol car was parked at the curb. Derek opened the back door and pushed Naomi inside. She didn't resist this time. She sat down, her hands still cuffed behind her back, and looked up at him. "This is your last chance. Check my credentials. Verify who I am. Walk this back before it's too late."
Victoria Chen stood at the front of the ballroom, scanning the crowd. Sophie, her daughter, was laughing with friends near the dessert table. The party was going perfectly, almost too perfectly. Except Naomi hadn't returned. Victoria checked her watch. Naomi was supposed to introduce the next speaker 10 minutes ago. She'd stepped out briefly, said she needed to take a call, but that was 20 minutes ago. Victoria walked to the edge of the ballroom and flagged down one of the event coordinators. "Have you seen Naomi?" she asked. The coordinator shook her head. "Not since she left the stage." Victoria pulled out her phone and called Naomi. It went straight to voicemail. That wasn't like her. Victoria walked into the hallway. A few guests stood near the elevator, talking in hushed voices. She approached them. "Excuse me," Victoria said. "Did any of you see a woman in a black dress come through here? She's the MC for the event." The woman in the gold dress turned around. Her face was pale. "You're Victoria Chen?" she asked. "Yes." The woman hesitated. "Your MC, she was just arrested." Victoria blinked. "What?" "A police officer stopped her near the elevator," the woman said. "He demanded her ID. She told him she was an FBI agent and the MC for your event, but he didn't believe her. He arrested her anyway." Victoria's blood ran cold. Where did they take her? "Downstairs, maybe 5 minutes ago." Victoria didn't wait. She turned and ran toward the elevator, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She jabbed the button repeatedly until the doors opened. Inside the elevator, she pulled out her phone and called Naomi again. Still no answer. She called her head of security next. "Get down to the lobby now," Victoria said. "Naomi's been arrested. I need to know where they took her." The elevator couldn't move fast enough. Victoria's mind raced. Naomi was an FBI agent. She had credentials. How could this happen? The doors opened on the ground floor. Victoria rushed out into the lobby. Her security chief, a tall man named Greg, was already there, talking to the building's security guard. "What happened?" Victoria demanded. The guard looked shaken. "A police officer brought a woman through here in handcuffs about 10 minutes ago. She said her name was Naomi Wells. She told me to call the FBI field office." "Did you?" Victoria asked. "I did," the guard said. "They're sending someone now." Victoria's hands trembled. Where did the officer take her? Outside, into a patrol car. Victoria ran to the glass doors and looked out. The street was empty except for a few passing cars. No patrol car in sight. She turned back to Greg. "Find out which precinct they took her to, now." Greg nodded and pulled out his phone. Victoria walked back into the lobby, trying to process what had just happened. Naomi had been arrested at her daughter's birthday party in a building where she was the MC. It didn't make sense. Unless it did. Victoria had built her company from nothing. She'd faced discrimination, bias, and countless people who'd underestimated her because of her gender and her background, but she'd never been arrested for simply existing in a space. Naomi had. Victoria's shock turned to anger. She pulled out her phone and opened her contacts. She scrolled through until she found the name she was looking for. Brian Foster, her attorney. She dialed. "Brian, it's Victoria. I need you to do something for me right now." Upstairs, the party had descended into chaos. Word had spread that the MC had been arrested. Guests were confused, angry, talking over each other. Sophie found her mother in the lobby. "Mom, what's going on? Everyone's saying Naomi was arrested. That can't be true." Victoria turned to her daughter. She could see the worry in her eyes. "It's true, sweetheart. It's true." Greg walked over. "I found out where they took her, 6th Precinct, downtown." Victoria nodded. "Get the car. We're going now." "Mom, I'm coming with you," Sophie said. "No, stay here with your friends. I'll handle this." "This is my party," Sophie said, her voice firm. "Naomi is here because of me. I'm coming." Victoria looked at her daughter. She saw the same determination she saw in herself. "Okay," Victoria said. "Let's go." They walked out of the building together. Greg had the car waiting at the curb. Victoria slid into the back seat, Sophie beside her. As they pulled away, Victoria stared out the window. She thought about Naomi. Strong, confident, resilient Naomi. A woman who'd spent years serving her country, protecting people, upholding the law. And she'd been handcuffed and dragged out of a building like a criminal. Victoria's phone buzzed. A text from the woman in the gold dress. "I recorded the whole thing. Let me know if you need it." Victoria texted back immediately. "Send it to me." Seconds later, the video arrived. Victoria pressed play. She watched as Derek grabbed Naomi's wrist, watched as he cuffed her, watched as Naomi stood tall, defiant, demanding he check her credentials, and she watched as Derek refused. Victoria's grip tightened on her phone. She looked at Sophie. "This ends tonight."
The 6th Precinct was buzzing when Victoria and Sophie walked through the doors. Officers moved between desks, phones rang, and the smell of stale coffee filled the air. Victoria walked straight to the front desk. A sergeant looked up from his paperwork. "Can I help you?" he asked. "My name is Victoria Chen. You have one of my guests in custody. Special Agent Naomi Wells, FBI. She was unlawfully arrested at my daughter's birthday party less than an hour ago." The sergeant's expression shifted. He typed something into his computer. "Wells," he muttered. "Let me check." Victoria crossed her arms. Sophie stood beside her, silent but watchful. The sergeant picked up his phone and called someone. He spoke in a low voice, then hung up. He looked at Victoria. "She's being processed now, if you'd like to wait." "I'm not waiting," Victoria interrupted. "I want to speak to whoever's in charge. Now." The sergeant hesitated, then nodded. "I'll get the lieutenant." 5 minutes later, a tall man in his 50s appeared. His uniform was crisp. His badge gleamed under the fluorescent lights. Lieutenant Harris. "Ms. Chen," he said, extending his hand. "I understand there's been a situation." Victoria didn't shake his hand. "Your officer arrested an FBI agent tonight, at my event, without cause. I want her released immediately." Harris frowned. "I'm going to need more details." "Her name is Naomi Wells. She's a special agent with the FBI and was serving as the MC for my daughter's birthday gala at Grandview Tower. One of your officers stopped her near the elevator, demanded her ID, refused to check her credentials, and arrested her for trespassing." Harris's frown deepened. "Which officer?" "Langford, Derek Langford." Something changed in Harris's face. Recognition, concern. "I see," he said quietly. "Do you? Because from where I'm standing, one of your officers racially profiled a federal agent and violated her civil rights, and it's all on video." Harris's eyes widened slightly. "Video?" Victoria held up her phone. Multiple angles, his body cam, building security, guest recordings, all of it. Harris didn't respond immediately. He looked past Victoria toward the back of the precinct. "Wait here," he said. He disappeared through a door marked Authorized Personnel Only. Victoria turned to Sophie. "This is taking too long." "They're scared," Sophie said. "You can see it." She was right. The officers at their desks were watching them now. Whispers passed between them. 10 minutes later, Harris returned. Behind him were 2 other officers, and behind them was Naomi. Her hands were no longer cuffed. Her dress was wrinkled. her hair slightly disheveled, but her head was high. Her eyes found Victoria immediately. Victoria rushed forward. "Naomi!" "I'm okay," Naomi said. Harris stepped between them. "Ms. Wells, I want to personally apologize for what happened tonight. There was clearly a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Naomi cut him off. "Your officer racially profiled me, refused to check my credentials, arrested me without probable cause, and ignored every attempt I made to identify myself. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a violation." Harris shifted uncomfortably. "Officer Langford will be disciplined." "Disciplined?" Victoria stepped forward. "That's not enough, not even close." Before Harris could respond, another voice rang out from across the room. "What the hell is going on here?" Derek Langford stood near the processing area, still in uniform. His face was red, his jaw set. "Langford," Harris said sharply, "my office, now." Derek didn't move. He stared at Naomi. "She's actually FBI?" "Yes, she is." Harris's face paled. For the first time since the arrest, doubt crept into his expression. "I didn't know." "Because you didn't check," Naomi said, her voice cold. "I told you who I was. I told you my credentials were in my bag. You refused to verify because you'd already decided I didn't belong there." Derek opened his mouth to respond, but Harris held up a hand. "Not another word, Langford. My office." Two more officers appeared. FBI agents. Naomi recognized them immediately. Special Agent Carter and Special Agent Brooks from her field office. Carter walked straight to Naomi. "You okay?" "I'm fine," Naomi said. Brooks turned to Harris. "We're going to need all footage from tonight. Body cam, building security, everything." Harris nodded. "Of course." Then Brooks looked at Derek. "Officer Langford, you were being placed under investigation for civil rights violations, unlawful arrest, and abuse of authority." Derek's face went white. "This is ridiculous. I was doing my job." "Your job isn't to arrest people based on their skin color," Brooks said flatly. "Your body cam footage shows you ignored her requests to verify her identity. That's not procedure. That's bias." Derek looked around the room. No one met his eyes, not even Collins, who stood near the back, silent. "This is a setup," Derek said weakly. "This is accountability," Naomi said. Harris stepped forward. "Langford, you're suspended effective immediately. Turn in your badge and weapon." Derek stood frozen. The room went silent. Slowly, he unclipped his badge from his uniform. His hands shook as he placed it on the desk, then his weapon. He looked at Naomi one last time. "I was just doing your job," Naomi finished. "No, you were doing what you wanted, and now you're facing the consequences." Derek walked toward the exit. Every officer in the room watched him leave. The door closed behind him. Harris turned to Victoria and Naomi. "Again, I apologize. This should never have happened. You're right, it shouldn't have, and we'll be pursuing legal action against this department and Officer Langford personally." Harris nodded grimly. "I understand." Victoria put her arm around Naomi. "Let's get you out of here." As they walked toward the exit, Sophie took Naomi's hand. "I'm sorry your night got ruined," Sophie said softly. Naomi squeezed her hand. "It's not your fault, sweetheart." Outside, the cold night air felt different now. Cleaner, lighter. Victoria turned to Naomi. "Are you sure you're okay?" Naomi nodded. "I've been through worse, but this," she looked back at the precinct, "this was personal. We're going to make sure he pays for it." Naomi smiled faintly. "He already is."
The case moved quickly. Within 48 hours, the body cam footage went public. The video spread across social media like wildfire. Millions watched as Derek Langford stopped Naomi Wells near the elevator. They watched him demand her ID. They watched him refuse to check her credentials. They watched him arrest her despite her calm, clear explanations. The hashtag Justice for Naomi trended nationwide. News outlets picked up the story. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, they all showed the same footage. a decorated FBI agent, dressed elegantly, treated like a criminal because of the color of her skin. The city launched an internal investigation, the FBI opened their own probe, and Victoria's legal team filed a federal lawsuit against both Derek Langford and the police department. Derek's career ended the day the footage went public. His suspension became a termination. The department couldn't defend his actions, they wouldn't. But that wasn't enough. The district attorney reviewed the case and filed criminal charges. Derek Langford was arrested 3 weeks after he arrested Naomi. The charges were severe: deprivation of rights under color of law, false imprisonment, official misconduct. The trial lasted 2 months. The evidence was overwhelming: the body cam footage, the building security videos, witness testimony from the guests at Sophie's party. Naomi's own testimony, delivered with the same calm, fierce confidence she'd shown that night. Derek's defense tried to argue he was following protocol, that he had reasonable suspicion, that he didn't know Naomi was FBI. The prosecution dismantled every argument. He didn't check her credentials because he didn't want to, the prosecutor said in his closing statement. He saw a black woman in a space he didn't think she belonged, and he used his badge to remove her. That's not law enforcement, that's racial profiling, that's abuse of power. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, guilty on all counts. Derek Langford was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. The courtroom was silent when the judge read the sentence. Derek sat still, his face blank. His family sobbed in the gallery. Naomi sat in the front row, Victoria beside her. She didn't smile, she didn't celebrate, she simply nodded once. Justice wasn't supposed to feel like victory, it was supposed to feel like balance restored. 3 months later, the city settled the civil lawsuit. $200,000 paid to Naomi Wells, a formal apology issued by the mayor. Policy changes implemented in the police department, including mandatory bias training and stricter accountability measures for officers. Naomi donated half the settlement to organizations fighting racial injustice. She kept the other half and used it to start a scholarship fund for young black women pursuing careers in law enforcement. If I can help even one person avoid what I went through, then maybe this whole nightmare meant something, Naomi said in an interview. The interview aired nationally. Naomi sat across from the host, poised and professional. She wore a navy blazer, her FBI badge visible on her belt. "Do you think Derek Langford's sentence was fair?" the host asked. Naomi paused. "Fair is complicated. 10 years won't undo what he did. It won't erase the humiliation, the anger, the violation I felt that night. But it sends a message that officers who abuse their power will be held accountable. That's important." "What would you say to people watching who've experienced something similar?" Naomi looked directly into the camera. "Document everything, record if you can, stay calm if you're able, and know your rights. You don't have to show ID without probable cause, you don't have to consent to searches, and you don't have to accept being treated as less than human." She leaned forward slightly. "But also know this, it's not your fault when it happens. The problem isn't you, it's the system that allows people like Derek Langford to wear a badge in the first place." The interview ended with Naomi standing outside the Grand View Tower, the same building where she was arrested. She looked up at the 47th floor. "I came back here because I refuse to let fear dictate where I go or who I am. I belonged here that night. I belong here now, and no one gets to tell me otherwise." 6 months after the arrest, Sophie Chen turned 22. Victoria threw another party, smaller this time, more intimate, just close friends and family. Naomi was there, not as the MC this time, just as a guest. She stood near the same elevator where Derek had stopped her. A few guests recognized the spot. They didn't say anything. They didn't need to. Victoria walked over with 2 glasses of champagne. She handed one to Naomi. "To surviving," she said. "To surviving," Naomi echoed. They clinked glasses. Sophie joined them, smiling. "You know what's crazy? That officer thought he could break you. He thought putting you in handcuffs would make you smaller, but you're still standing." Naomi smiled.
I'll always be standing." Later that night, after the guests had gone home, Naomi stood alone in the building lobby. She looked at the security guard who'd called the FBI field office that night. He'd testified at the trial. He'd told the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. "Thank you," Naomi said, "for making that call." The guard nodded. It was the right thing to do. "Not everyone does the right thing," Naomi said, "so thank you." She walked out into the night. The city lights glowed around her. The same streets, the same buildings, but everything felt different now. Derek Langford was in prison. The policy had changed. The story had been told. But the work wasn't over. It never really was. Naomi knew there were more Derek Langfords out there, more officers who saw skin color before they saw humanity, more systems built on bias and fear. But she also knew there were people willing to fight, to stand up, to speak out, and she would be one of them. Always. Do you think 10 years was enough, or should Derek Langford have faced even harsher consequences for abusing his badge and violating Naomi's rights? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful true stories like this one. We'll see you in the next video.